Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into a learning technique that is, honestly, a total game changer. It's all about how we can take abstract words and ideas and turn them into real, concrete skills that we can actually use.
So let's start with a feeling I'm pretty sure we've all had. You spend hours studying, right? You're memorizing a new vocabulary word, maybe a formula or some key concept. You feel like, okay, I've got this, nailed it. And then, a week later, it's just gone, poof, vanished. Why is our brain so frustratingly good at just letting go of new knowledge?
Well, here's the heart of the problem. We so often try to learn things in a total vacuum. Think about it. You could read a whole book about swimming. You could learn about buoyancy, the physics of a freestyle stroke, exactly how to breathe, but you will never ever learn to actually swim until you get in the water. Learning without any practical context is just like that. It's all theory and absolutely no application.
But what if there was a better way? Our source material for this whole discussion gives us this beautifully simple yet really profound exercise that basically offers a map to true understanding.
Now, what's so cool about this is just how simple it is. The exercise isn't about memorizing a boring list of words like left, right, or next to. No, it's about using those words to actually get something done, to get from point A to point B on a map. And believe me, that tiny little shift makes all the difference in the world.
And this right here is the crucial point. The map exercise completely changes the objective. It's not about passively remembering a definition for a test anymore. The goal becomes active. It becomes functional. Can I successfully give or follow these directions? Suddenly, the words are tools you use to solve a puzzle, not just items on a list you have to memorize.
So why on earth is this so much more effective? Let's dig into the cognitive science a little bit, because there's a really good reason why connecting words to a practical world makes them stick in your brain.
This slide just illustrates the difference perfectly. Look on the left. You've got abstract learning. You might stare at a flashcard that says the character for left is Zoa. Okay, fine. But that's just one piece of data kind of floating around in your brain with nothing to hold on to. But now, look at the right. Contextual learning. It puts that exact same word into a sentence, into an action. Turn left at the bank. Suddenly, Zoa has a job to do. It has a relationship with other words, and it's connected to a physical action in the real world.
You see, by using a map, you're not just firing up the language center of your brain. You're linking that word, left, to an actual physical space. You're engaging your visual memory, picturing the map in your head, and your spatial memory, tracing the route. That word now has a purpose. It has a function. It's been transformed from just a piece of abstract data into a genuinely useful tool.
And what's going on at a neurological level is just fascinating. Every single time you practice this way, you are literally physically changing your brain. You're building and strengthening the connections that make remembering this stuff effortless down the road.
Just think about what's happening inside your head during this exercise. First, you get the visual cue. You see the bank on the map. Second, you process the linguistic command, the words turn left. Third, you do a little mental simulation. You actually trace that turn in your mind's eye. And fourth, here comes the reinforcement. The word, the image, the action, and the outcome, getting closer to your destination. It all gets bundled together into one strong, interconnected memory.
So what that means is the next time you need the word for left, you're not just trying to pull some single dusty file out of a cabinet in your brain. Your brain can access that entire rich experience. The image of the map, the feeling of making that turn. You're basically reliving the action, which makes the word just pop into your head almost instantly. It's so much more powerful.
Now, this whole cognitive journey isn't just for learning directions. The map is really just a metaphor. We can apply this incredible principle to almost anything we want to learn. So let's bring it all home and talk about how you can start navigating your own learning journey.
All right, here's your takeaway framework. First, you identify the abstract concept you want to get good at. Let's say it's a new function in a programming language. Second, you create a practical, goal-oriented task. So don't just read the documentation. Challenge yourself to build a tiny program that uses that function to solve a real problem, like sorting your to-do list. Third, connect that concept to a real-world context. For a historical date, for example, don't just memorize it. Create a simple timeline showing how that one event led to the next three. You're building a story, not a list. And finally, and this is the most important part, you have to practice the task, not just the theory. If you want to learn a negotiation tactic, reading about it is not enough. Grab a friend and actually role-play it. The act of applying it is what builds that mental map.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. Whatever it is you're trying to master next, please
Stop trying to learn how to swim from the book. Instead, ask yourself this: what is my map? What's the practical task that's going to turn these abstract words into a living, breathing, usable part of my world? Find that, and I promise you'll find the key to truly learn.